Hello everyone, it's Kylie Draws here. In today's video, I'll be drawing your Gacha characters. I had to put up a community post last week where I had you guys send me your Gacha characters and I would draw one of them. Unfortunately, the submissions were quite limited and I was nervous that this video might not go ahead. But thankfully, Chopstick messaged me on Discord and sent me their Gacha character. So we'll be drawing their character today. Thank you again to Chopstick, you are a true legend. The character they sent me is called Amari. They are an aspiring wrestler, they like the wilderness, and their personality is carefree and silly. Alright, let's get to drawing. When I first read Amari's description, I was very interested in leaning into their hobbies to be a wrestler. But after looking through some references, I'm not too sure if I'll be able to pull it off and do the character justice. So I'm going to be drawing Amari in the wilderness. From their design, they had an autumn leaf in their hair, so I'm going to make the setting of the drawing a forest in autumn. Personally, drawing trees digitally is like my worst nightmare after drawing backgrounds. I've just never really gotten the tree look that makes trees, well, trees. So I'm going to be challenging myself today to make a believable background that the character fits in. I'm going to start off with a sketch and then I'll be painting the background. I initially wanted the angle of the piece to be from a slight bird's eye view, but it ended up looking really weird with how the eyes were placed and how the rest of the body was drawn. I also wanted to go for a simpler pose, because I had a feeling that the background would take up most of the time. Thankfully, it didn't, but I spent almost an hour on just the sketching, line art, and background combined. I feel like with more practice, drawing backgrounds would be easier and in turn faster, but for now, I'm just going to be patient and work at my own pace. There could be a chance that I might not continue this series unless it does well, and I'll be going back to drawing your original characters instead. Mainly because of the limited entries I got for this video, and also because original characters gives people more freedom to create and design compared to the limited things you would get in a preset character creator like Gacha Club. This doesn't mean I don't enjoy drawing Gacha characters. I actually really enjoyed drawing Amari and she has a really cool design, but like I said before, character creators are more limited compared to what people can think of when it comes to character design. Also, if you have noticed, this video is a lot longer than my other videos, because I spent like 2 hours total on this drawing compared to the 1 and a bit hours I would normally spend on a drawing for YouTube. And I'm saying for YouTube because I can spend days on personal art. Refer to my drawing of Hu Tao I featured in my most recent tutorial video, where I think I spent 4 days on it. I'll put a little card at the top and have the link in the description if you're interested in watching the tutorial. When drawing the leaves of the trees, I created this brush last year in October when I was trying to draw leaves for a background, and would you look at that, I'm doing just that. Yes, I am aware that it's called snow, but I've used it for more things than just leaves and snow. In this case, I'm using it to draw the leaves in the treetops, and I'll be using it again to draw in some foreground elements at the end. I use a range of colors from yellow to red so that it gives the illusion that there's depth to the trees. I do the same thing with the tree trunks, but instead I have different values of brown for the wood. I then used an airbrush to add shadows and a wet watercolor brush to add grass. I then used the quote-unquote snow brush to draw in some leaf piles and falling leaves. After some refining of the background, I felt okay to move on to drawing and rendering Amari. I toss everything into a folder and then hide it before moving on. I used a marker brush to draw the line art. I like the way it responds to the pen pressure, and I just like the texture of the brush in general. I use a dark brown color for the line art, but I end up coloring the line art at the end. Speaking of coloring line art, I've been really trying to get into doing it since the end result is so much smoother in my opinion. I've been trying to adapt my style to be on the softer side now that I'm leaning more into brighter and more saturated colors, and the bold dark line art would just be overwhelming to the viewer and also to my eyeballs. I'm trying to keep it lineless to an extent. It's easier to explain once you see the end result. You can still see the lines, but from far away, you can't really make it out that there is actually line art in some places. I just really like the look of the lineless line art look. There's no real explanation why I do it. Sometimes it's just because it looks good. I'm thinking of making another video where I draw Kylie in different styles again. Since the last one really blew up, I'm still trying to process how well it did. I'll be putting up another community post where you guys can comment what styles I should draw Kylie in. I know for sure that I'm drawing Kylie in the bluey style. But if you guys want to see other styles, then feel free to comment on this video or on the community post I'm putting out after this video is uploaded. The coloring process for Amari was pretty simple, as she has a very simple color palette. I was worried that the colors might clash, but they actually turned out to work better than I expected, which I'm very happy about. Drawing her eyes was also very simple and easy, and overall, Amari was just a very nice character to draw, with just the right amount of detail to create interest and challenge. I used an orange to shade her, as it would make the shading go better with the background and the autumn theme. There was not much to talk about in the shading. It was pretty simple and nothing super complicated. Oh, I did really like figuring out how to draw her hair in my style though. The part that was tied up gave me a little bit of trouble because I don't usually draw hair that was on the more blocky side, if that makes sense. But I think I did really well. I especially liked figuring out how the long flowy part of her hair wrapped around her face. I have also decided to lean more into using the airbrush, and it's definitely helped to add some life and texture to the drawing, especially around the fingers, elbow, and face. I also used it to blur out the edges of the shadow around her arms. I should have also used it around the shadow on her shirt, but I kind of forgot, and this is just some of the things I noticed after finishing the drawing. Adding highlights and little details like the glare of the glasses was also very easy, and it just needed a few layer changes and putting things into folders. I think personally that it would have taken a lot less time if it weren't for the background and my indecisiveness for a pose and angle. When coloring the line art, I used a darker color to the base color, and then used an airbrush on the layer set to clipping. Foreground was a little messy, but I think I made it work. Using some brushes I got from the Medibang Paint Pro brush library, say that 5 times fast, and combining it with my own brush, some filters and effects, I think I captured the motion of the leaves falling very well. I then put a gradient overlayer on Amari and changed the opacity so it wouldn't wash her out. And this is the final art piece. Thank you so much to Chopstick again for sending me their character. She was really fun to draw, and I really enjoyed experimenting with all the different colors and I guess kind of learning how to draw trees again. And I think personally I improved a lot in how I draw backgrounds and trying to fit a character into the environment. And yeah, that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for staying to watch for the entire video. I Again, sorry for a late upload. School is starting again next week, which means that uploads will be shorter and most likely have, I guess, less commentary, if that makes sense. But I think with the new editing and recording style that I have for my videos now, I think it might make them a little bit easier and faster to, I guess, post-process, if that makes sense. But yeah, thank you again, and I'm not too sure what I should do for the next video, so it would be really cool if you guys put suggestions in the comments. I do read all of them, and I do appreciate all of the feedback and all of the compliments, so yeah. I'll see you until then. Bye!